let's pretend for a minute that I'm on my bridge and there are important bridge sounds going on in the background that may sound like smoke detectors that I'm too lazy at this time and for a long time to change the batteries on. So this video is just kind of I made it. I've done this method a couple times now. I actually really like it. I went through, it's kind of a test of the new Xeno Shatter driver, believe it or not. Those 4 exterminators that I coined last week now have 2 Xeno Shatter drivers on each of them. I also coined on some of the new projectile Xeno armor on both the Punishers and all 4 of the exterminators. So this hit was just kind of my first initial, well, not an initial test, but this is day 1. I just did this refit today. So I found it was actually really effective. I really like it, and it does actually make these bases really fun, and it cuts down a lot of the damage that I was taking. Now this is pretty skillful. I'm not saying I'm the best sniper in the game. Somebody out there is going to refine this down a lot and do a lot better than I do with it, but it's good enough for me to be able to justify using this strategy. And giving you guys a reason to make these exterminator fleets. So just a quick breakdown of what I'm doing, and then I'll kind of talk about some things throughout that may be related to the video, may just be Vega related. You guys know how I am by now. But here I'm actually getting to a wide angle. See, there's all sorts of targets over in the middle that I don't want to be in the range of. So by moving myself off way to one side, it eliminates those targets, or most of those targets, from being able to attack me. Now, I don't do as good of a job as I probably should at protecting my, the number 1 Punisher, the Punisher in the number 1 slot. I don't protect him as well as I should throughout the video, but even still at the end, I think I take somewhere around 30% damage through this video. So, and again, I haven't, once you farm for long periods of times using the same strategy, you kind of refine it a little bit. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I am figuring things out, and I'm sharing them with you guys now. This isn't something that just any average Joe is going to be able to pick up and do. You kind of have to have a little bit of micro experience in terms of being able to realign ships mid-fight and mid-flight. You'll see what I mean by that. Just kind of keep your angles perpendicular to the targets. And you also have to have a little bit of sniping experience to do this as well. You'll see I do dodge a lot of shots. I take a lot of hits too, but I dodge quite a few shots as well. Basically I'm just sniping it like I would any other base. And you can see that everything that I'm taking fire from is directly in front of me. It's really easy at this first burst to kind of shed some of the damage that I'm taking and dodge a few shots here and there, but it gets, throughout it does change a little bit. Here I probably could have kept my Punisher back a little ways. I think here in a minute I start taking fire from some of those turrets up in the top left hand corner of the screen that I didn't necessarily need to take fire from. Maybe not, but I caught myself throughout. I was taking damage where I didn't need to. And also with these exterminators, it's not a bad idea to give your Punishers a break every now and then. I considered swapping out for blue recharge shields during times like that, because the exterminators can take quite a bit of a pounding as well. They're not, it's not like the traditional sniper fleets that we used to use, where your snipers kind of had a glass cannon tank, or they had 6,000 hit points divided between shields and armor, and then divide the resistances up that way. But these guys, they're not that way. We're looking at 9,000 hit points at least. And here's where I talk about the micro. You kind of have to be able to change your angle of your ships, bring them perpendicular to the target. Here I'm actually trying to primary the bridge. It was kind of giving me, it was being a little finicky, but I got it primaried. Once you pop that bridge, all those modules around it pop, which is kind of nice. I probably could see the risk that I run with that number 3 Punisher right there is once you get close enough to those targets, you start taking additional projectile damage. and I still think that I have a lot better chance of being able to tank Xeno damage type than I do projectile. So I'm trying to kind of mitigate that by staying far away. I made the call to do that as opposed to going in and putting some fire down, taking out turrets a little early. Just because the exterminators actually do such a good job at taking out those clusters of turrets, because they can hit so many targets at one time with that burst that comes out the back of the Shatter driver. And each one of these only has 2 Shatter drivers on it. So it's, and it's Shatter driver 1s. It's the Xeno Shatter driver 1s. And they're all Mark 1. So you can kind of see the potential for this. There's going to be some coiners out there that can just breeze right through these because, they're rocking Mark 6, or, well, after the next decimation, I believe. They'll have Mark 6 exterminators and, with a lot of, probably twice the DPS that I'm pumping out easily. But this strategy worked well for me. I haven't even finished getting the Shatter Driver 2 blueprint yet. So the difference between the 2 Shatter drivers, right? Let's talk about that for a minute, because there is a difference. It's not like most weapons where the level 1 and the level 2 varying stats damage-wise, but everything else is the same. These are actually geared so that your Shatter Driver 1s are 300 meters per second slower than your Shatter Driver 2s. So pretty much all the buffs that it got to kind of mimic having your, what's that special, the blue, I forget what they call it, but the special that came out with the Shatter driver, it kind of mimics having the lower version of that special as opposed to having the higher version, even though you could, in theory, run the level 1 with the highest version. They kind of tone everything back. But it's, honestly, you guys see it here, it's a base, it's a static target. I don't really need it to move fast. Creeper torps used to be the meta for basing for a while. Creeper revs and stuff like that were pretty popular for the longest time. So that just kind of goes to show you, and I never used to fit magnets on my siege sniper fleets anyways, because we were limited to mass. Not only on the ships, but on the fleet. If you didn't hit max mass on a ship, you might still be at max mass on the fleet. But anyways, enough with that rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a pretty fun test, and it definitely brings me a lot of points at, not too hefty of a cost compared to just trying to pun rush these things and punish the Xeno bases. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.